Toronto's real estate sales have hit their lowest point since 1995. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, along with a bunch of other things. But that is a number that I was shocked to see today. I went through every single month's of data from 1990 to 2023. Took a long time, but I did it and compared October months for the past 28 years. And in 1995 was the last time sales were this low. Welcome to Real Estate Raccoons. My name is Ara Memorian. I run the Spring Team here in Toronto, in Victoria, British Columbia, in Hamilton, Ontario, and near Peterborough, Ontario. We're looking to grow, so if you're an agent, reach out and let's talk about it. I've got a link in the comments or description about that too. But let's talk about our real estate market in Toronto right now and what the hell is happening out there. Week 192 since March, where I started tracking this information week over week. If you go to TheSpringTeam.ca/blog, you can read every single market report for every single week since March of 2020. And this will go on for as long as I have the energy to carry it on for. So let's clarify some numbers you're probably going to be seeing in, whatever publication you read. Sales down, sales down, sales down. Now, first of all, it's really important to understand what sales they're talking about. So look at the number and look at the context to which that number applies. Is it all of the GTA? Is it Toronto? Is it a specific neighborhood? Is it houses? Is it condos? Like, the market is reacting very differently to right now based on what street you're on, what type of property you have, and who the ideal type of buyer is for that property. So very, very important to take a lot of the negative news that you're seeing out there, especially by some online creators that are highlighting some desperate situations by some desperate sellers and trying to paint the entire market with the same brush. And that's just not, the right thing to do, but it gets clicks and views and attention. So I guess that matters to some people, not necessarily to the real estate raccoons. So at the end of the day, when we look at pre-March, we were in a range of like 6,000 to 9,000 sales looking at previous Octobers. And I'm only looking at October right now because I want to make an apples to apples comparison to what's happening right now. I don't want to make an October comparison to like a March or an April where historically the spring market has seen more sales. But of course, right now we sit at just under 4,700 sales for October. That's including houses and condos in basically the entire 416 area code. And that is a pretty low number and a number that we haven't seen since 1995. There were some points, 1999 to 2001, that saw some similar numbers. But even 2008, during the financial crisis, we had more sales than this. In fact, we crossed over that 5,000 sale barrier this same month in 2008 when the world was kind of feeling some serious financial pain. The big difference between then and now, interest rates and supply. We have more supply now than we did then, than we've had in a very long time, actually, which is even more surprising that prices haven't adjusted more than they have. Right now, as I've said before, if you go back and read a couple of other posts, you'll see the Q4, the fourth quarter of this year, so the last few months of 2023 are shaping up to be basically the same as the last few months of 2022. And looking at October 2022 to now, sales were just a little bit higher then. We had about 300 or 400 more sales. About 290 or so more sales last October than now. So it's not much of an adjustment from then, but what's going to happen in the next few months is going to be very important because we have an interest rate announcement to come before the year ends. We have 2 interest rate announcements to come before the year ends. So will there be an increase? Will there not be an increase? And remember, an increase by the Bank of Canada doesn't necessarily mean that all rates across the board are going to be going up. Variable rates, of course, because that's what those announcements are tied to, will adjust up or down as they announce. But fixed rates are directly tied to the bond market. So right now, some fixed rate products are showing some signs of life and coming down, despite the uncertainty in the air. So there are more secure, more certain lending options for you out there, especially if you are not at all interested in timing or playing the market in terms of how your mortgage looks. But anyway, so if you're like a buyer out there right now, it's very confusing, and we've talked about this before because there are some places that are actually selling in multiple offers, but they're very in very specific communities. So if you look at Toronto right now, you have a lot of the larger, older homes, people looking for their forever home type situation. High Park in the Roncy area, a lot of these homes are selling in multiple offers very, very quickly, regardless of the condition. If it needs work, if it doesn't need work, whatever, those properties are being priced to entice multiple bids, and it is working. Same with North Riverdale in a lot of cases. Again, we've talked about this over and over again. Certain streets in Leslieville. We had one on Brooklyn Avenue that we talked about last week. Certain condos and smaller buildings with large terraces designed for people that are downsizing from their local homes. Like, these types of properties are still selling very well, despite what you might be hearing out there. And when you see a big number, like, our listing supply, for example, which is almost, in total, we've got about 5,000 some odd condos listed in the entire 416, not just in the urban areas that I'm tracking on the market, but looking at the condo market as a whole, there are over 5,000 condos listed, but 66 or just under 66% of those condos are priced at $800,000 or less. So these are a lot of investors that are flooding the market with units. So there's opportunity in one area, which is that sub $800,000 mark, but less opportunity above that, especially when you get into that end user luxury type product where people aren't really interested in timing the market. They just need a great place to get to after their local home that they've lived in for however many years, probably no mortgage. So that's kind of who's buying right now, like people who are upsizing, who haven't over leveraged themselves over the past few years, that have a bunch of equity in their existing asset. They're seeing an amazing opportunity to upsize right now. So if you're going from your condo into a bigger house, or from your house into an even larger house, which is what's fueling a lot of that demand and a lot of that offer activity right now. So these people are coming to the table with a lot of money, a lot more money than you would think, with the job security behind them. Are there people losing jobs? For sure. I mean, it's happening across the board and it will continue to happen. This is kind of what is driving us into a recession. And being driven into a recession usually means downward pressure on rates, which is why Tiff McCallum at the Bank of Canada said that they are going to consider, they may consider bringing the rates down before reaching the 2% inflation target, which was revised to say that should be sometime towards the end of 2024 into 2025. So now we have written confirmation that there would be a consideration to reduce rates. It's the first time we've really talked about reducing rates. So that should create some more optimism in the market, but by no means is that going to flood the market with all of these buyers who are like, hooray, I can finally afford something. Rates are going to come down a hell of a lot slower than they went up, so don't get all twisted and excited about that. It's good news. It's certainly better than rates moving up again. Can that happen? 100%. It could. Oh, sorry, not 100%, but of course it could happen. Anything like that could happen. But there are indicators out there that lead me and other people to believe that there won't be another increase. But again, I'm not going to predict the future. But as long as unemployment numbers continue to rise, we get clearer signals of a recession, which would technically mean that rates will start to come down. So that's the kind of future we have ahead of us. The next few months should be fairly inactive in terms of real estate on the grand scale, with the exception of those neighborhoods and areas that I talked about. But really, that's the week in a nutshell. Sales are down, listings are up, some things are selling, some things are not. Some things are being relisted and sold with different strategies. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there that I could imagine would be tremendously confusing to somebody who's not in the market every single day. You're reading this one thing, you're thinking this other thing, then you have this guy saying one thing and it goes against another thing. So there's all of these scenarios that exist out there that make your situation unique. Your home may be worth more than you think it is. Your home may sell quicker than you think it will. Or your home may not sell as quickly as you think it will. The inverse is possible as well. So the most important thing for you to do is to be armed with information. So I have an entire army of agents here at the Spring Team that want to talk to you. I'm your first point of contact. So I've got all the links to book a strategy session with me. And these aren't pressure sales sessions. The people that work best with the Spring Team are people that understand that we're here to consult and advise at the highest possible level. And if that means not selling, then that's what we will tell you. And if that means not buying, then that's what we will tell you. We won't say you have to do this, but we'll give you the information you need to make the right decision. This is a no pressure environment, straightly consultative. and not salesy. So please don't be shy to book the strategy session link in the description below. And the best way you can show your support for the stuff that we're doing here at the Spring Team and at Real Broker is to hit that subscribe button. I really need to drive some subscriptions. And if you have any ideas as to how I can make this better and more engaging, then I want to hear all that stuff too. And if you're a good video editor type, then let's talk, because I know there are a lot of AI tools, but there are certain things that I need to do with these videos to make them better so you guys can digest them a lot more clearer. So if you have any ideas there, I'd love to hear it. And that's it. So our Memorian is out. I'll see you in week 193. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all of those things. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon.